This is the 2011 Florida A&M University Relays interview with the Grand Marshals, members of the 1984 All-American Women's 4x400 meter relay, which consisted of the first leg, Pamela Porter, second leg, Pamela Oliver, third leg, Vogel Newsome, and the anchor leg, Mary Jones.
Talk about a special group of young ladies who came from different kind of backgrounds.
My name is Pamela Porter. I was first leg on the 1984 championship team.
Thank you very much.
I currently live in Orlando, Florida. I work for a brokerage firm, and I'm excited to be here.
I'm Pam Oliver. I ran the second leg on the 1984 team, which meant I was the slowest one.
No, it does not mean that. No, it does not mean that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Self-deprecating today. I majored in journalism, broadcast journalism. I was fortunate enough to work my whole career in television. Now I work for Fox NFL Sunday. We just had a Super Bowl that was viewed by 110 million people.
Wow.
Yes, and it was a career highlight. So that's my life today.
And I'm Vogel Newsome, third leg of the 1984 championship team.
What do you do?
What do I do? That's a good question.
What'd you major in?
I majored in business management, office administration. I am currently a paralegal. I do contract work, paralegal, and legal assistant work.
Mary Jones Wellens, and I was the anchor leg on the 1984 team. And I am now working at the Ritz-Carlton in Laguna Niguel as a director of guest relations and resort services.
Very personal young ladies that had a lot of confidence and a lot of belief in themselves about what they could do.
When we really got our stride, we walk out on the track and there goes them girls from Fam.
Yep.
There goes them quarter milers from Fam, and that was such a great feeling. And even now, when you're out in the community and somebody will come up to you and like, "Hey Pam, I remember you," and I'm like, "Okay, who is that?" Because I don't know who that is, but they remember you used to run the quarter, and yeah, I remember, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful feeling.
All four personalities were very unique in the sense, but they were very talented young ladies, and then once they brought it all together, they were unbeatable in the sense that their running ability and what they could do and what they felt they could do.
Is that we had the 4x440 relay, and my sister was the first leg. And when Geneva handed off the baton, we were in first place. Well, somehow when the second leg got it, we dropped down to maybe third. Then when the third leg got it, we dropped down to almost last. And my sister's on the sideline crying because she figured all her work's gone in vain. And I was like, nobody makes my sister cry. So I'm waiting, and the second best team, their person had already had the baton and was on her way down the backstretch, going into the 200 to the last 200. While I was waiting to get the baton.
And you walked
I got the baton. and walked her down.
Oh,
it
right.
came down to the finish. It came down to the finish. The crowd stood up. Everybody was watching. Is she going to catch him? I mean, I don't even know what my split was, but I think when I won the 440, I know it was in the 50s. So I don't know what I clocked on that leg to walk her down, because nobody makes my sister cry.
That's
And so that's what clinched the scholarship for me.
cute.
And like I said, I had other universities wanting me, but I was determined to go to a black college or university.
They were young ladies who kind of controlled the conference that we were in, the MBAC conference at that time, especially in their events and their relay team. But they kind of got their notoriety, especially once they started to pop in the great times on that 4x4 teams.
Really hard to, have any kind of success. For me, Pam was like this, she just never tired, it didn't seem like, and just gifted athletically, beautiful stride, just thin, just built like a runner, exactly. And then Mary, just this long, tall drink of water, these legs that went on forever. And she just came in and she just blew everybody's doors as soon as she got there as a freshman. Just so good, so gifted. And again, I was just sort of plodding along, didn't have any kind of no reason for anybody to think, oh, yeah, she's really going to be good one day. I didn't even know, what my capabilities were. I just know, just in the course of my life, I always had to work really, really hard for everything I was able to attain. And then my girl here, she could do anything. She could run, she could jump, she could do anything, and I never really had that ability. I was a one-trick pony. That's it.
But she was strong, though.
And she was good.
She was strong. That's what it was.
Because that was my only option.
Yeah.
I couldn't run the 200, couldn't run the 100, wasn't going to run the 800. So it was like 400 was just about it. And I remember when I really dug in my heels, I got left home a couple of times because, left home. Track team's gone. I'm sitting in a dorm. Everybody's like, why aren't you? Well, basically I suck. So I had to figure that out, and I just dug in my heels, and I said, this is never going to happen again, and I'm going to compete, and I'm just going to, do the best I can and just put it all out there, and 400 was all I could really run, and it was awful. I hated it. Hated it every single time I did it.
I never knew that. I never knew that.
Because
I never
there was
knew
no
that.
in between. You knew that you were going to
not
die.
die. Yeah.
You knew you were going to die, down that stretch.
Yeah.
And it had the worst pit in my stomach.
Yeah. And it didn't matter what meet.
Yeah. 3 quarters, and
yeah. If we ran usually an open and then a mile relay.
And the
what
was the sprint medley?
Sprint medley was
That
what?
would be an alternate.
That was sprint medley because we ran.
That would run that 800.
Yeah,
That's right.
because we would do
800 leg, wouldn't I?
right. I think it was two,
did.
4. No, 2. What was it?
You were 2. You had to be 2.
One, yeah, 2.
You did the 200.
4, and then I can't remember.
I probably wasn't even
2
on that
2s.
team.
Yeah,
No,
2 2. Yeah, you were. You ran a
Was I?
200. You ran a 200. 2 2 and 4. Yeah. Yeah.
I've completely blocked that out because it goes against my
I just
story
knew I
of
was-
how,
I knew
you
I
know,
was
Yeah.
under
we're-
800.
Yeah.
you know, yeah, but it was, you really had to earn your spot on this team and on the relay team. I think there were times where we just go back and forth between, you know, who was running the fastest and all that stuff, and we competed, I think, not only against the opponent,
But
you
with
know,
each
but you
other.
wanted to run the best, you wanted to run the fastest time. So I think we definitely alternated between that, and but it made us all better, you know.
And I think if I can, even the practice times. I mean, when
Yeah.
we were on that track, it was always competing.
Yeah.
Because we knew the game plan and we had to prepare.
Right.
So nothing was off limits.
Right.
Everyone had to do their best
Right.
because we didn't want to let Coach Lang down.
Right.
But we didn't want to let each other.
But I never wanted to run the last leg. I knew that.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, like I said, I learned from that high school experience getting cut because I thought it was so good.
Yeah.
Believe me, I stayed
need
on
to
my
get
best
knocked
behavior
out.
here
Right.
because
Right.
I did not want to
Right.
get cut from
Yeah.
this team. I did
And
not.
it was funny
I did
because
not.
we never like really discussed it. We never really discussed how we were going to run the race or anything. We just inherently did it.
Yeah.
And that was, I think that was a special thing
Yeah.
with us.
And that's from
You
the
know,
coaching too. Coach
Yeah,
Lang,
yeah, he knew.
He forced us to run that first 200 meters, just all out, glide the backside, and then
And then
just
come
dig
on in and dig it,
Whatever
yeah.
happened, you
Yeah.
know.
It was,
Yeah.
it was
And you get the ugly face
Special.
before the end.
you're like running like,
It's just like, you know, your mind is
Yeah.
like, please, come on. You know,
Oh.
you're just like,
And waiting for that voice in the center of the
Yeah,
field.
in the
which I'm sure
center.
He's
Yeah.
there right now.
come on.
oh, that's a great door.
Oh, degree. Yeah, too
Because
funny.
one time we did,
Yeah.
apparently, in indoor, it was just ugly.
Yeah.
I don't think we won anything, men or women. And Coach
Yeah, it
Lang
was, he was upset.
And you didn't want to upset him,
No.
you know?
Yeah.
you didn't.
You didn't want to
wanted him to be
disappoint
proud
him,
of
that
you.
look
Yeah.
on his face, and you know.
He'd yell
That's,
at us.
uh-huh.
But not, but you know,
It was
was
a loving
stern, but
way.
it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't abuse. It was
Right.
just kind
Thank
of,
you.
yeah.
And I think he was proud. He was proud of us,
Yeah.
and he was proud of the fact when he did, you know, walk out, because you could hear it when we'd walk through or walk around or wherever, you could hear it. Oh, here they come.
Yeah, sure did.
You know,
You can tell
and
us nothing.
You can tell us nothing. And I think the great thing, even Pam
You know?
said she never wanted to run the anchor. Another good thing about our team, I think if push came to it,
Right.
that we could run each other's leg
Right.
successfully. So I think that was a special thing about our team as well.
At the Macomb, Illinois. At that time, they had a national track and field championship called the AIW Women's Track and Field Championship. We out in Macomb, Illinois, and my God, we went out there and they had an outstanding meet. All of them made All-American, and they were fantastic. So. Without a doubt, they probably still hold the school's record in the 4x4 relay team. The record that Pam Oliver once held in the open 400 was broken several years after that by a Tracy Cofield girl who came along, little freshman girl came along at that time. But I'm hoping that that Coach Moore, in her to rebuild women's track at Florida A&M, that she's very fortunate enough to find some young ladies of that caliber and put them on the track and do some great things for Florida A&M's women's track.
thank you for the opportunity to bring this wonderful team together. We're very blessed to see these ladies once again. It's something that I have dreamt about, and I was hoping that it would happen one day. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The remainder of this video contains the testimonies of community activist Vogel Newsome that have played major roles and impacted history, changing the course and the destiny of those considered to be black, Negroes, African Americans, and people of color from what the white Jews, Zionists, and Supremacists had in store for them. The 2011 Florida A&M University Relays, Finding Your Purpose and Walking Therein. In March 2011, prior to the FAMU Relays, community activist Vogel Newsome shared with the FAMU women's track team that every year before the FAMU Relays, Coach Bobby Lane told the track team that you don't allow a dog to come into your yard and beat you. You give the dog a beating. She shared how she took a trip to Capitol Hill in December 2008 to address injustice and suffering retaliation. The Lady Rattlers laughed when Vogel Newsome shared her motto given to President Barack Obama: "If you don't hear our rattle, then feel the bite," letting them know that she is definitely in the trenches fighting the giant so that they can have better opportunities when they graduate.
On the other hand, when we see our people being brutalized by white bigots, white racists, we think that they are foolish to allow themselves to be beaten and brutalized and do nothing whatsoever to protect themselves. If they should have the right to defend themselves against any attack made against them by anyone. If a dog is biting a black man, the black man should kill the dog. Whether the dog is a police dog, a hound dog, or any kind of dog. If a dog is sick on a black man, when that's nothing but trying to take advantage of what the government says is supposed to be his, then that black man should kill that dog or any two-legged dog who sicks the dog on it.
This is an excerpt of a November 12, 2008 congratulations fax to President-elect Barack Obama from community activist Vogel Newsome. Congratulations on your November 4th, 2008 presidential victory. Truly history was made on this date and America spoke for change. Congratulations to you, Michelle, Joe Biden, Jill, your family, friends, and many supporters and citizens as me who voted for you and for change. I pray that you remain humble and seek God for direction in all that you do. I take the fight for civil rights and many protected rights very seriously and believe you will find from the documentation provided you and or sent you that this is true. Not only that, I was fighting for those causes during the times you were working in the communities, just in different states. I am still fighting and will continue to fight. However, like you advised, you're going to need us working with you as president in our communities. I am going to need you working for me as well as those on whose behalf I am fighting for. Well, you are our president and believe this can be done. Yes, we can. Ending with the slogan, if you don't hear our rattle, then feel the bite. The consequences of betrayal.
President Obama saying during a televised town hall that he's learned that you can't change Washington from the inside. His critics were quick to point out that he won the White House 4 years ago, promising exactly that, hope and change in Washington. Now,
today, as the campaign says, for acknowledging that he has not made good on his promises, specifically pointing to that statement he made yesterday at the Univision town hall.
The most important lesson I've learned is that you can't change Washington from the inside. You can only change it from the outside.
FAMU Rattler Facts, Fighting Through Adversities. This is an excerpt from the January 13, 2000 letter from the Florida A&M University Department of Intercollegiate Athletics. I would like to officially invite you to return to Florida A&M as we celebrate your accomplishments as outstanding track athletes. In 1984, your 4x400 meter relay team was one of the best in the country among your many accomplishments, making it to the NCAA National Championships in Eugene, Oregon at the University of Oregon. We want to honor all 4 members of your team as the Grand Marshals of 2011 FAMU Relays.
We've recently seen an increase in the number of protests as it relates to social injustices, particularly from athletes. How involved were you all as students when problems would arise on campus or in the community when you were here?
Well, as I shared earlier, I did a lot of things behind the scenes, and that's how I am today. But now it looks like I'm being pushed out in the spotlight to a point where I am being asked to perhaps start doing some television and radio shows in Atlanta and in Chicago, but to address those issues because it's just ridiculous. My background, when I left here, I did work corporate, but for the past 10 or 15 years, I've been working for these big prominent white law firms as a paralegal. So now I'm getting out here, putting to work what these white lawyers taught me. They know me very well in the circuit, but just
as community activist Vogel Denise Newsome shared, she is behind the scenes working. For the past 30 years, after being stalked by the likes of the white supremacist group, the Ku Klux Klans, Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz, she just merely documented and memorialized the attacks on her life. And in this video, she shares. Here is an excerpt from the January 30th, 2011 email sent to Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. Subject matter, investigation of United States President Barack Obama. Senator Paul, urgent assistance is being requested.
Go
Can
ahead.
I say this?
Yes.
Because maybe, and she's passionate, and maybe that person that's so passionate can assist those who want to speak up, and maybe moving forward, he will not lose his endorsements because maybe you're writing the book or you're rewriting the book. So it is, I think you have to be passionate about it, but you got to be careful because there are lives that
that's why I was saying
Yeah.
it comes with a price because they have come after my job. I can go to another law firm. They will call it the law firm. This big, huge law firm, Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz, is running everything and get me. I deal with them. I deal with them. I pull off the hoods like Malcolm X said. There's going to come a time that if the federal government doesn't do it, we're going to do it. And at that time, even when I was just a little toddler. But you're going to have the audacity to come after me, as I shared with the FAMU Relay women in 2011. When I left FAMU, if you would have told me in 2008, I would have been up in D.C. in December 2008 after Obama won, I would have just laughed. But if you would have told me that this government was going to try to destroy my life, I said I would have told you then. They're fighting a losing battle.
The Store All Alfred LLC versus Denise V. Newsome is a lawsuit brought against community activist Vogel Denise Newsome in retaliation to her trip to D.C. in December 2008. This lawsuit was filed in January 2009. The white supremacist, Jewish Zionist white supremacist law firm of Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz merely used a fronting firm by the name of Swartz, Main, Ruby, and Slavin to bring this lawsuit. It was met swiftly with a counterclaim by community activist Vogel Denise Newsome. This is a copy of the April 5th, 2011 letter from the Florida A&M University Department of Intercollegiate Athletics to community activist Vogel Denise Newsome, which reads in part, Coach Moore is beaming with pride after meeting you and having you speak to her team, and it has permeated all the way to their performances. Since the FAMU relays, the ladies have stepped up their performances to levels they had never done before. To have ambassadors such as you to carry the FAMU torch across this nation is something money cannot buy. We want to thank you and let you know how proud we are of you. It is such speeches, interviews, etc., that these white Jews, Zionists, and white supremacist law firms as Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz would like to keep hidden. They do not want our children to rise or to be encouraged or to see their potentials. But despite all the attacks, by the grace of God, community activist Vogel Denise Newsome prevails. Bringing change from the outside. FAMU Rattler Facts. The following are a series of events that occurred in April 2011 that the white Jews, Zionists, and white supremacists law firm of Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz and its co-conspirators are striving diligently and hard to keep out of public view. On April the 22nd, community activist Vogel Denise Newsome submitted her response to the March 17, 2011 Supreme Court of the United States letter. On this same date, April the 22nd, 2011, United States Kentucky Senator Rand Paul's office contacted community activist Vogel Denise Newsome in regards to her January 30th, 2011 email entitled Investigation of United States President Barack Obama. Senator Paul, urgent assistance is being requested. Also, on this same date, what does the white Jews, Zionist, supremacist law firm of Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz do? It appears they went and recruited a law firm by the name of Perkins Coie. What? To request copies of President Barack Obama's certificate of live birth. The letter reads in part, as you know, several years ago my client requested a certified copy of his birth certificate and received, pursuant to the policy and practice of the Hawaii Department of Health, a certification of live birth, sometimes referred to as a short form, or abbreviated birth certificate. This certification of live birth is, of course, legally sufficient evidence of birth in the state of Hawaii. Moreover, it is my understanding that it is and has been the Department of Health's long-standing policy and practice to provide only the short form version whom a certified copy of birth certificate is requested. We understand that the Department of Health has adopted this policy for sound administrative reasons. However, we are writing to request a waiver of the Department of Health's policy. Hello, violations, violations, violations. But let us keep moving. On the same date, there go President Barack Obama writing a letter. And this letter serves as evidence of his willing participation in such criminal conspiracies. So the public world is supposed to believe that President Barack Obama does not have a copy of his birth certificate in his records that he could have simply provided a photocopy of. How did he get the passports he obtained over the years to travel overseas prior to the 2008 presidential election or campaign? All he had to do was provide a photocopy of the one in his personal files, such as at home. But he did not. Duh. What is one of the main documents required to get a passport? That's correct. A birth certificate and or certificate of live birth. Hello. But blacks, African Americans, Negroes, people of color are not supposed to be that bright and or intelligent to think of things such as that. For instance, the white Jews, Zionist, supremacist law firm of Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz, having an attorney by the name of Robert Devine. By presidential appointment, served in Washington, D.C. as chief counsel of the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services within the United States Department of Homeland Security. Also served as acting director and then acting director of this agency. Hawaii State Senate confirmed Loretta Fuddy approximately 23 days before United States President Barack Obama requested the certified copies. How coincidental is that? Just in time to confirm President Obama's certificate of live birth. Some of the facts to understand. 1. The certificate of live birth is false, sham, bogus. It fails to bear the required signatures of the Registrar General and Director of Health as required. 2. In the April 22, 2011 letter from Obama's attorney, Corley, she advises, I will be coming to your office. I will be coming to your office to pick up the copies of the certificates. So why an alleged electronic copy of the certificate of live birth when the attorney is going to where the original is kept? Why an electronic copy and not a photocopy? Hello? According to the previous director, the certificate of live birth was placed in a vault. 3. Document provided by President Obama was placed on simulated background. 4. The dates, such as the different days of 8/7/61 and 8/8/61, provided by alleged President Obama's mother and the attendant, appears to be written by the same hand. How stupid. Then, in April 2011, on the 25th, Mississippi Governor Haley Barbour announces he will not run for U.S. President in 2012. Barbour was a top Republican hopeful for President of the United States of America. Yes, the white Jews, Zionist supremacists, law firm of Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz is legal counsel to Haley Barbour. What is also interesting to note is that Governor Haley Barbour's chairman of the Mississippi Athletic Commission, Jean Lewis, well, he was involved in the February 14, 2006 kidnapping and other crimes leveled against Vogel Denise Newsome. Yes, he showed up at her residence in violation of the Ku Klux Klan Act, wearing a disguise. So this was a Klan member in disguise in a constable uniform, and he kidnapped Newsome okay, kidnapped Newsome, and they held her in a place they called the Hinds County Detention Center. And they did not release her until her parents paid the ransom to set her free. They masked it as a bond. What did Newsome do? She recorded the whole incident. But do you think Jean Louis, when he came across that tape recording, do you think he turned it in? Oh, I'm telling you, it is scandalous. Baker Donelson and them stole the tape recording. They stole the recordings and never turned them in. Scandalous. So anyway, Newsome followed up with a complaint and request for investigation with the United States Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigations, also known as the FBI, on June the 26th, 2006. Okay? Then, on February 14, 2007, Newsome filed a civil lawsuit against Melody Cruz, Spring Lake Apartments, and the rest of them. Jean Louis, the sheriff, the county. Yes. But do you think, now you would think with the civil lawsuit being filed, they would answer. But no. I'm going to use some broken English here. It gets gooder and gooder. Instead of filing an answer to the complaint, Constable Lewis, the crooked judge involved, Judge William Skinner, they didn't even file a timely answer. Jean Louis comes and slapped down some frivolous criminal charges against Newsome, alleging resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, failure to comply with law enforcement.
Don't scare Negroes today with no badge or no white skin or no white sheet or no white anything else. The police the same way. They put their club upside your head and then turn around and accuse you of attacking them. Every case of police brutality against a Negro follows the same pattern. They attack you, bust you all upside your mouth, and then take you to court and charge you with assault. What kind of democracy is that? What kind of freedom is that? What kind of social or political system is it when a black man has no voice in court, has nothing on his side other than what the white man chooses to give him? My brothers and sisters, we have to put a stop to this. And it will never be stopped until we stop it ourselves. They attack the victim. And then the criminal who attacked the victim accuses the victim of attacking him. Yes, this is American justice. Yes, that's right. This is American democracy. Yes, and those of you who are familiar with it know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy. Right. Now, if I'm wrong, put me in jail. Right. But if you can't prove that a democracy is not hypocrisy, then don't put your hands on me.
Yes, these charges were untimely filed, but not only that, they were tossed out. So they missed the deadline to file an answer to the complaint. Okay? So we'll leave it at that. So they've been holding that lawsuit up. That matter's gone before Congress. So the white supremacists in their white Jewish Zionist-controlled legislature is tying that up. But nevertheless, Newsome did file another complaint, a fair housing complaint, about September the 21st, 2007. Then, about September the 21st, 2007, another lawsuit was filed, a civil lawsuit for fair housing violations. That was met with threats from the white supremacist Jews Zionist law firm of Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz, who was using a fronting firm by the name of Dunbar Monroe. Mr. Clark Monroe had the audacity to threaten Newsome's attorney, Wanda Abiato, with sanctions. Here's an excerpt from the letter For instance, he tells her, you were fully aware that Miss Newsome would be a difficult client and one you could not control. Listen to that. Could not control. See that white supremacist mentality? No. And then, there it is down there at the bottom, threatening her with sanctions pursuant to Rule 11. And that's Rule 11 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. FYI, if you are a party to a lawsuit and you have an attorney and your attorney's not getting the job done, then yes, as a party, because you are a party to the action, you can legally and lawfully file pleadings to preserve your rights. And it was interesting because Ms. Newsome hadn't heard from Ms. Abiato. Deadlines were coming up. So yes, she went ahead and got the pleadings filed and preserved her rights. And it was a good thing because, look, later obtaining correspondence showing the threats being made by these white supremacists behind the scenes. This is unacceptable. See, you all didn't know what was going on because of what these white Jews, Zionists, and supremacists have been playing on that tell lies vision. Just telling y'all lies after lies. But we're here to give you some good FAMU Rattler facts. So, again, let's get back on track now. April 2011, the 25th. Here comes Miss Fuddy, Loretta Fuddy. Okay? She sends a letter to President Barack Obama. Okay? This letter serves as evidence of willing participation in the criminal conspiracies. And what does she say in this letter? I am making an exception to current department policy, which is to issue a computer-generated certified copy. Okay? Computer-generated now. Why not just provide a photocopy to the attorney that was going there to pick it up? Computer-generated. This is why we share. Fake, forged. Why would you have to fake or forge a certificate of live birth? If you were born here within the United States. If you are president legally under the 25th Amendment. Hello? Just in time to assist in the birth certificate cover-up, Fuddy was confirmed on March the 29th, 2011. And of course, you know, like all house Negroes, Fuddy quickly progressed to upper-level management. See, she started out as an entry-level staffer. Okay? And she is an advocate for affordable and effective health care. Yes. In April 2011, on the 27th, President Barack Obama releases a fake forged certificate of live birth. One guess, you all, who's legal counsel to President Barack Obama. That's correct. The white Jews, Zionists, supremacist law firm of Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz. We put the certificate of live birth here with some of the discrepancies that we found. Again, why not just make a photocopy of what's in the registrar's book, since the attorney's there, like the Nordyke twins? Hello? That's because you are not supposed to be very bright.
Trump been pressing the birther issue, as you know, and he took full credit for getting the president to release his full birth certificate.
I am really honored, frankly, to have played such a big role in hopefully getting rid of this issue. Now, we have to look at it. We have to see, is it real?
Then on April 28, 2011, that's correct, not Donald Trump. The fear of the truth that will be exposed through investigations requested by Vogel Denise Newsome led to the stupidity and ignorance of President Barack Obama and his legal counsel to release a fake forged certificate of live birth. Then there was the white man, as usual, stepping out to take credit for work being done by a person of color. They called and rallied one of their top white supremacists, Donald Trump, to take credit and set up their white Zionist-controlled media networks to listen to his lies. Then, about May 1st, 2011, here comes President Barack Obama with another lie, talking about the killing of Osama bin Laden. That's just how much pressure the request for the investigations community activist Vogel and Newsome caused. Coming out with another lie. Listen to the speech. United States President Barack Obama's admission to locating Osama bin Laden last August, so that would be August 2010, coincidentally, immediately after community activist Vogel Denise Newsome's July 13, 2010 email advising of the downfall and doom of his administration. That led to retaliatory practices where they engaged in the theft and embezzlement of money stolen from Newsome's bank accounts for child support, and retaliation and warning of the downfall and doom of his administration. Newsome, who never married and never birthed, aborted, nor adopted a child or children.
Good evening. Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda, and a terrorist who's responsible for the murder of thousands of innocent men, women, and children. And so shortly after taking office, I directed Leon Panetta, the director of the CIA, to make the killing or capture of bin Laden the top priority of our war against al-Qaeda, even as we continued our broader efforts to disrupt, dismantle, and defeat his network. Then, last August, after years of painstaking work by our intelligence community, I was briefed on a possible lead to bin Laden. It was far from certain, and it took many months to run this thread to ground. I met repeatedly with my national security team as we developed more information about the possibility that we had located bin Laden hiding within a compound deep inside Pakistan. And finally, last week, I determined that we had enough intelligence to take action and authorized an operation to get Osama bin Laden and bring him to justice.
Then, Raymond Mabus, the United States Secretary of Navy, yes, an attorney and or employee also of Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz, former governor of the state of Mississippi. So no, it was not Osama bin Laden, but it was the white Jews, Zionists, and Supremacists, Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz, that planned, orchestrated, and carried out the 9/11/2001 domestic terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center towers and other targets. There are those who may not know of the October 9, 2010 pleading submitted to the United States Supreme Court entitled Emergency Motion to Stay, Emergency Motion for Enlargement of Time, and other relief the United States Supreme Court deems appropriate to correct the legal wrongs and injustices reported herein. Not only that, how international governments, leaders, etc. may also have this information. Why is this important? Because in this document, community activist Vogel Denise Newsome exposes the white Jews Zionists law firm of Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz. Then approximately 2 months later, on or about December the 5th, 2010, W. Lee Rouse, the chief of staff and senior counsel to the FBI Director Robert Mueller. Yes, Robert Mueller. If that name sounds familiar, he's the one that has been brought in 2017 to handle the investigations in regarding Russia and the election scam they're alleging. Not only that, on September the 4th, 2001, That's when Mueller was put in office. What is that? Approximately 7 days before the 9/11 attacks. Hello? Then a few days later, about the 13th of December, Richard Holbrooke, special envoy to Pakistan and Afghanistan, he drops dead. Guess who he's in a meeting with? Report says he was in a meeting with Hillary Clinton. A few days later, about December 31st, 2010, John Wheeler, the third U.S. military expert who served 3 Republican presidents, he was killed. And the report says his body was found in a waste landfill. So they just discarded him as though he was trash and or garbage. Then a few months later, about May 1st, 2011, that's when they alleged to have killed Osama bin Laden. However, they refused to show proof that bin Laden was killed, as well as show photos or live footage of the confrontation. Then about a month later, Lawrence Eagleburger, senior foreign policy advisor with Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz, also a member of the board of directors for the Halliburton Company. This is a company in which former Vice President Dick Cheney was chairman and chief executive officer. He dies. Then 2 months later, or 3 months after the alleged Osama bin Laden incident, on or about August the 6th, 2011, look what happened. They say that terrorists brought down the helicopter that Navy SEALs were on, of the SEAL 16, that same supposedly team involved in the killing of Osama bin Laden. How coincidental. How coincidental. One can gather, they just probably thought these men knew too much and took them out, considering them as what is known as collateral damage. On May 3rd, 2011, community activist Vogel Denise Newsome responded to the voicemail message of April 22nd from Stacy in Kentucky Senator Rand Paul's office. An excerpt from the letter reads as such. Let Newsome say that she knew that it would take more than mere words to come out against a sitting United States president and his terrorist, supremacist, racist, bullying regime. Nevertheless, it was a matter that had to be undertaken. Furthermore, Newsome considered the fact that there were high-power players, lawyers, government officials, lobbyists, etc. involved. Therefore, she released information to the public world so that they can see for themselves the evidence and proof.
One white man named Lincoln supposedly fought the Civil War to solve the race problem, and the problem is still here. Another white man named Lincoln, again the same white man, issued the Emancipation Proclamation to solve the race problem, and the problem is still here. Some more white liberals came along with the 13th, 14th, and 5th Amendments, which were supposed to solve the race problem, and the problem is still here. 9 years ago, 9 more white liberals, so-called, came up with what they call a Supreme Court desegregation decision, and the problem is still here. And then another white man named Kennedy came along running for president and told Negroes what all he was going to do for them if they voted for him, and they voted for him 80%. He's been in office now for 3 years, and the problem is still here. When police dogs were biting black women and black children and black babies in Birmingham, Alabama, that Kennedy talked about what he couldn't do because no federal law had been violated. And as soon as the Negroes exploded and began to protect themselves and got the best of the crackers in Birmingham, then Kennedy sent for the troops. And there was no, he didn't have any new law when he sent for the troops when the Negroes erupted than he had at the time when whites were erupting. So we are within our rights and with justice, with justification, when we express doubt concerning the ability of the white man to solve our problem, and also when we express doubt concerning his integrity, concerning his sincerity, because you will have to confess that the problem has been around here for a long time, and whites have been saying the same thing about it for the past 100 years, and it's no nearer a solution today than it was 100 years ago.
On August 31st, 2011, community activist Vogel Denise Newsome requests a status of investigations from United States Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. and provide a deadline of September 15, 2011 to respond. Failure to act legally, lawfully allows for other options such as international intervention to remove the United States despot from power. FAMU Rattler Facts. On or about September 14, 2011, United States President Barack Obama, also known as a House Negro, launches his attack website to report social forums as Newsome's, known as the AttackWatch.com. Have you heard people say bad things about me? Let me know. Not bad, the truth. One day prior to the September 15, 2011 deadline. Duh.
You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You can keep Johnson in Washington, D.C., or you can send him back to his Texas cotton patch. When you see this, you can see that the Negro vote is the key factor. And despite the fact that you are in a position to be the determining factor, what do you get out of it? The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote. They've been down there 4 years. And all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you. And now they bring up you. You put them first and they put you last. Because you're a chump. The party that you backed controls 2/3 of the House of Representatives and the Senate, and still they can't keep their promise to you. Because you're a chump. Anytime you throw your weight behind a political party that controls 2/3 of the government, and that party can't keep the promise that it made to you during election time, and you're dumb enough to walk around continuing to identify yourself with that party, you're not only a chump, but you're a traitor to your race.
FAMU Rattler Facts. On September the 15th, 2011, United States President Barack Obama announces trip to Cincinnati, Ohio. Duh. Cincinnati, Ohio. Okay? On also September 15, 2011, one of Baker Donelson's attorneys, James C. Duff, resigns from his position as Director of the Administrative Office of the United States Courts. Duh. FAMU Rattler Facts. On October the 21st, 2011, United States President Barack Obama, his administration, and lawyers come after community activist Newsome's job at the Garrison Firm Resolution Group and have her terminated.
Efficiently controlled, the people will read and accept exactly what the few in control want them to. Government censorship is one form of control. A newspaper which breaks a government censorship rule can be suspended. It is also possible for newspapers and other forms of communication to be controlled by private interests.
I thought I told you to kill that story. It'll cost us a lot of advertising.
If that story goes out, I quit.
All right.
This is a presentation that President Barack Obama and one of his fronting firms, the Garrison Resolution Group, have attempted to keep the public and world from seeing. On October 12, 2011, under the laws, such as the Whistleblower Act, Newsome reports the criminal racist acts of white co-workers to frame her for crimes they were committing. She reported this to the Garrison Resolution Group. The planning of conspiracies to frame Newsome appears to be in retaliation to the August 31st, 2011 letter to United States Kentucky Senator Rand Paul requesting written response by September 15, 2011. Oh, what a tiny web we weave when we practice to deceive. We thought it may help if we place a few faces with the names so that you will better understand the unlawful, illegal, and deceptive practices of the Garrison Resolution Group. Furthermore, perhaps you are a claimant or counsel for claimant in which the Garrison Resolution Group may be handling claims. Seeing and or knowing how claimant's documents may be destroyed and or allegedly misplaced may also provide you with a better picture in the criminal practices, i.e. such as obstructing justice and or obstructing the handling of claims by the Garrison Resolution Group. Then when employers and their employees are investigated, they may proceed to further obstruct justice by providing false and misleading statements. It is important to also note that when the employer and or employees are sued in their official and or personal capacity, they are shot. The laws of the United States are clear. The defendant or the conspirator becomes the agent of the other conspirator or conspirators. And any act done by one of the combination is regarded under the law as the act of both or all. In other words, what one does, if there is this combination, becomes the act of both or all of them, no matter which individual may have done it. This is true as to each member of the conspiracy, even those whose involvement was limited to a minor role in the unlawful transaction. It makes no difference whether or not such individuals shared in the profits of the action. When the Garrison Resolution Group elected and or made a conscious, willful, and malicious decision to terminate Newsome's employment, it did so with knowledge that it was opening itself up and its employees to liability.
On October 21st, 2011, on this date in history, United States President Barack Obama announced the ending of the war in Iraq, and that all U.S. troops will be out of Iraq by the end of the year. Community activist Vogel Newsome posted the termination voicemail on YouTube. However, in efforts to cover up their criminal conspiracies, United States President Barack Obama, his legal counsel Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz had this voicemail message removed from YouTube. We just simply moved it to our SlideShare form. Hello.
First saved message.
Hey Denise, this is Justin Rame with Messina Staffing. I know we talked earlier today. I just wanted to let you know that Garrison and they called me and they decided that today is going to be your last day, and that they do not want to extend your contract. So don't go in Monday morning. I will get your stuff, and you can come by sometime Monday afternoon and pick it up from our office. Send me your resume. I'll look over your resume, and if there's anything else that comes up that we can get you in for, we'll do what we can. I'll send you an email and everything. If you want. We'll just talk Monday. I'll probably be out of the office this weekend. Thanks. Bye.
End of message. To delete this message, press 7. To save it in the archives, press sent Friday, October 21st at 4:43 p.m. Saved message from 51377499083. 1 minute, 12 seconds. To delete this message, press 7. To save it in the archives, press 9. Resave.
FAMU Rattler Facts, Fighting Through Adversities. In keeping with the criminal conspiracies launched against community activist Vogel Newsome, United States President Barack Obama, along with his white Jewish Zionist supremacist law firm of Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz, conspired with the Garrison firm Resolution Group to file a lawsuit against her. In response, Newsome filed a notice of non-attendance. When she went public and advised of the lawsuit, they moved swiftly to have the case sealed to keep the public and the world from obtaining access to the court records, engaging in activities where they stalked community activist Vogel Denise Newsome from website to website and having them shut down. Yes, this is good news. Why? Because United States President Barack Obama and his white Jews, Zionist, Supremacist law firm of Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz, along with their co-conspirators, the Garrison Firm Resolution Group, did not know that community activist Vogel Denise Newsome had memorialized the agreement, the verbal agreement to extend her contract through December 2011. Then, when she published that, they went after her script.com account to have that shut down. So if you're looking for these documents, please feel free to go over to slideshare.net/Vogel Denise, where as of today's date, September 24, 2017, there are over 4,000 documents published and posted. Stupidity. Having community activist Vogel Denise Newsome's website hosted through OneWeb Hosting and Bluehost shut down. Then went to script.com and had that account shut down. But nevertheless, her website is still up and going strong at VogelDeniseNewsome.net. And again, documents may be located at slideshare.net/Vogel Denise. Stupidity. Barack Obama bought his degree from Harvard University. White institutionalized. Yes, under a despotism government regime, the empire controls the information that is released to the public in the world. For instance, when community activist Vogel Denise Newsome published an article on or about July the 28th, 2017, pulling off the hoods, exposing Baker Donelson, what happens? Facebook comes out and removes it from Facebook. Swinging open the closet door. United States President Donald Trump is not the problem. The white Jews, Zionist supremacists, and their law firm of Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz is the problem. Pulling off the hoods and exposing their terrorist, racist attacks on community activists Vogel Denise Newsome and people, nations of color. So now they're trying to make it seem like Facebook is participating. That's what you call damage control. When they were in control of who received information, they participated, played a role in the criminal conspiracies to cover up the crimes and activities of their law firm, Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz.
A community rates low on an information scale when the press, radio, and other channels of communication are controlled by only a few people, and when citizens have to accept what they're told. In communities of this kind, despotism stands a good chance.
How does the United States of America explain giving control of information and control of the press, radio station, television, and other channels of communications to one segment or two? The Jews and their legal counsel Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz. That's unacceptable. So that they can control the information that the public or the world receives. This is why they come after Vogel Denise Newsome's social forums. They're trying to control and keep the public or world from getting the truth. As you see, they have failed. And no matter how hard they try, the information is getting out there. Hello, wake up. The inevitable is coming. Do you recognize any of these, for instance, television networks, social forums as Google, Facebook, Microsoft? This is what I'm saying. Jewish controlled and run. So they want to control what the people, the public, and the world gets. They want to control the information so that they can continue to put out their lies and false information. Then they want you feeling sorry for them, for what they went through during the Holocaust. But yet and still here they are trying to enslave black people, African Americans, and people of color. Like I said, it's inevitable, their outcome. Yes, control has even been turned over to a single group or a small group in regards to the telecommunications network used here in the United States of America and probably abroad. Yes, the Ku Klux Klan, Jewish affiliates, they control AT&T, Sprint, Verizon, and yes, they're behind the credit bureau organizations. They're in control of that, as well as the banking system. And then they wonder why they're under attack. People have had enough of their foolishness.
Then when community activist Vogel Denise Newsome goes out on United States President Barack Obama's Facebook page to post a public notification pulling off the sheets. We, the people, want the government back. United States of America President Barack Obama, you and your Klan lawyers, Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz, have come after the wrong African American Vogel Denise Newsome. President Barack Obama and Vogel Newsome need no introduction. He knows Newsome's slogan. If you don't hear the rattle, feel the bite. Lo and behold, here comes Facebook, shutting Newsome's Facebook account down. Hello. Then on or about Thursday, July 14, 2016, community activist Vogel Denise Newsome was locked out again, out of Facebook, just fairly new to this forum, for publishing a public notification, sharing recent postings with others. So much for transparency. What type of postings did she share? She published a video addressing the role that the white Jews, Zionists, Ku Klux Klan's law firm of Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz played in the planning, orchestrating, and carrying out of the 9/11/2001 World Trade Center bombings and other targets. She also posted an article entitled Martial Law, Understanding Police Brutality Being Used in the United States Racist Genocide Practices to Promote a Race War, Civil Unrest, building the case for the legal lawful revolutionary overthrow of the United States despotism government regime. How stupid is this? On the same date of September the 15th, 2011, the deadline given for United States Kentucky Senator Rand Paul to respond, there go United States President Barack Obama, his white Jewish Zionist supremacist law firm of Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz, making an announcement that he will be coming to Cincinnati, Ohio. Hello? Sellouts, informants wanted. Yes, many have been deceived because they have taken some white man and added some melon to his skin. They even turned to Attorney General Eric Holder, who announced that he was coming to Cincinnati in October of 2011. So Barack Obama, September 2011, Eric Holder bringing money, you all know what that is, blackmail, bribes for the Cincinnati Police Department. Most likely they were hoping that community activist Vogel Denise Newsome would show up so they would create some lie and then just gun her down brutally. The Ku Klux Klan has even launched a campaign in efforts to rebrand their name. They are recruiting blacks, Hispanics, gays, and Jews. Hello. On or about January 10, 2012, community activist Vogel Denise Newsome issued notification for termination, request for impeachment of President Barack Hussein Obama II, response to the attacks on Florida A&M University regarding alleged hazing incident, request for international military intervention may be necessary. This was served along with the pink slip on United States of America President Barack Hussein Obama, United States Senator, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, United States Department of Defense Joint Chiefs of Staff Admiral Michael Mullen. This is a copy, the header of the pink slip, a copy of the green card, as you see stamped White House office, Washington, D.C. They failed to return the green card and did not return it until community activist Vogel Denise Newsome contacted the international community and notified them of service. It was only after that notification that President Barack Obama and his criminal lawyers, Baker, Donelson, Bearman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz, had the green card taped back together. Look down the center. That is a federal offense. Destroying, tampering mail, U.S. mail. But this is what they do. This is how stupid they are. But evidence that we need and that we have timely, properly, and adequately preserved and archived. What a disgrace. 8 years wasted. Enough white butt licking. Too much hypocrisy and white butt licking. Look at these professional butt lickers, Barack and Michelle Obama. More Middle East government leaders need to be brave and stand up against the United States terrorist government regime as North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un. Yes, he is correct when he labeled Donald Trump a dotard, mentally deranged, etc. Now you can understand why and how the United States failed. Yes, community activist Vogel Denise Newsome delivering, bringing change from the outside. Yes. So for 8 years, when many were out there just entertaining the foolishness and deception of the white man's Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, community activist Vogel Denise Newsome was laying the groundwork to build a new government. Building a government on the shoulders of great leaders. Not only that, pursuing avenues legally and lawfully to request international military intervention in the handling of the United States despotism government regime. So just as Deborah in the book of Judges, community activist Vogel Denise Newsome is also out in the vineyard, as one could probably say under the palm tree, bringing down governments, networking with the right people to bring change. If you're interested in supporting and working with community activist Vogel Denise Newsome, please feel free to contact her at telephone number 513-680-2922. That's 513-680-2922. Her mailing address is Post Office Box 31265, Jackson, Mississippi 39286. Her website is www.vogeldenisenewsome.net. Documents are published and posted on her SlideShare form, and that may be found at www.slideshare.net/Vogel Denise. Donations in support of the work may be made at www.cash.me/$Vogel Denise Newsome. Thank you.